I'm Carson.
I'm Jordan.
Welcome to Take Two, and today we're going to be reviewing the 2016 remake of Ghostbusters.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh. Did you want to?
Sorry. I'll let you.
Next time. Okay.
I want to preface this review because we're treading very thin ice here. I don't hate that women are the Ghostbusters now. I don't hate that Paul Feig directed this film. I don't hate that we're getting a Ghostbusters film in 2016, even though we don't need it. The power of penny compels you! Ow! There was talk for many years of a Ghostbusters 3. Not all the actors were interested in it. Ivan Reitman even was like, I don't know. And it just never panned out. And we had, the tragic, really sad loss of Harold Ramis just a couple years ago. Great writer, director, and actor who has now passed on, one of the greats in my opinion. And now it's 2016. There is a new Sony studio called Ghost Corps, and we have watched Paul Feig's 2016 remake, reboot, sequel, soft reboot.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Of Ghostbusters.
Before we dive into the negatives and the probably extended conversation and discussion we're going to have about this film, I want to touch on some positives. I liked a couple things. I know you liked a couple things.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the way that the equipment looked. Pretty much everything in the universe, even jumpsuits, I liked. I think they looked...
I agree.
They were just different enough, I think, to look, new. The equipment, like I said, looks distinctly Ghostbusters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing looks out of place. It all felt, like the new gadgets feel like they were made for toys.
Yeah,
but
Ghostbusters has always had that industrial aesthetic.
Sure.
The original trap, the original prototype pack's really, really cool. And in this, all the equipment looked really neat. It looked straight. If it was in Ghostbusters 2, even I wouldn't bat an eye. It looks like it belongs in Ghostbusters. Second, in terms of another visual thing, I kind of really liked. I like how the ghosts look in this. Really, really, really cool art design. They really colorful.
I love that. Makes the movie a lot prettier, especially towards the end.
And really cool art direction on them. Some of them were even kind of frightening, in my opinion, which, that's different. They looked cool. I won't dock a movie if they have something that looks neat.
I don't particularly like Melissa McCarthy. I've never liked her, really, in anything I've ever seen with her. I did not mind her in this movie. She was not that bad. She didn't play that same character that she normally plays. She felt like she stood on her own in this, and I thought that was fine. It was nice to see.
So I don't hate anyone involved with this movie.
I don't either.
I know you don't like Paul Feig's movies much.
Not really.
I think Bridesmaids is great. He's made some other movies that are perfectly serviceable, which I say a lot. And I don't hate any of the actors or actresses in this film. Kristen Wiig is great in a lot of things. Skeleton Twins. Oh, she can be really, really good if you give her the right project. Same with Melissa McCarthy. She plays a lot of the same stuff. Something like St. Vincent's a little bit different, but it works if she's given the right project. Leslie Jones I haven't seen enough of, but I thought she was, she's fine. And Kate McKinnon, again, whenever she's in stuff, she's good. People like her, and I don't hate anyone involved with this project, but...
From this point onward, we are going to be having our negative discussion. We are also going to have a no-holds-barred spoiler section of this video. So if you don't want spoilers, just click away now.
So we made a video essay the other day called Ghostbusters, a Timeless Storytelling. And it explores why Ghostbusters, the original 1984 film, works as well as it does. Ghostbusters is such a great movie.
It's fantastic.
It's in my
movie.
top 10
I knew,
easily.
Yeah, I made that video essay, and I knew it was going to be the first one I was going to make, just because the timing worked out well, and it's something in a movie that I am super passionate about.
Yeah.
I love Ghostbusters. I think it's fantastic. I own 3 versions of the film. I just rebought the movies in steelbook form because I thought they were so pretty. I love Ghostbusters.
A lot of people love Ghostbusters because it is timeless. It's something you can connect to. And like we said in our video essay, it has a way of gripping you, even though it's not as serious as a lot of other movies. It plays it straight, but it's also silly, which is something you don't see much here. My biggest problem with this movie is that the sense of fun and timelessness and character is completely absent. And I want to make something clear really quick, sorry.
It's fine.
a lot of people say you shouldn't compare a remake or a sequel to the original, and I think that is a very misguided principle. A movie like this is made because it's piggybacking off the original.
I think judging, not judging a remake, can be valid if, like you say, looking at something like The Fly, right? The Jeff Goldblum version of that film stands on its own. It's a completely different film. It has a similar premise, but it's something totally different. They went in a new direction. This one is completely riding the coattails of the original Ghostbusters, and it's trying so hard to stand on its own, but it cannot do that when it keeps calling back to the original film. The cameos of Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and Ernie Hudson. Holy crap. How shoehorned did they feel? Like, I mean, it was just fan service. It's not like in, episode 7 when they pan over, there's a Millennium Falcon. It's like, oh, okay, but that's also an integral part of the story.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It is nothing in this movie. They mean nothing, and they're there, and it's pointless. And it points out this stupid commentary about people who hated on this movie before the movie came out, particularly the Bill Murray scene when he's in their office.
This movie got a lot of hate, like we said. And I think some of that was not merited.
No, not at all.
No, people were trashing this movie. And I'm going to come off as a very whiny fanboy later on in this, and I don't want to. I want to remain level-headed. It's just a movie. I can watch the original whenever the hell I want. The thing is, this movie markets itself as a comedy, like the original Ghostbusters. And it's not.
It tries too hard to be a comedy.
It's not funny.
I think I chuckled twice, and it was a mild chuckle, and it was at something that Chris Hemsworth said because his character was just so absurdly stupid.
The big deal that people have with Ghostbusters, the original film, that makes them love it so much, are the characters. Everyone has a personality, and it's not overplayed, right?
Not at all.
Egon is a very lovable nerd.
And he's smart, but it's not overplayed.
Stantz is a very passionate guy that wants to do something because he thinks it's the right thing to do. All right, Venkman is a smartass, but he has... he has
There's
character.
A serious side,
He's
too.
a serious side to him. He's actually working towards him, even though he's a sarcastic dick a lot of the time. And then we got Ernie Hudson. And
yeah.
Ernie Hudson's great because I love Ernie Hudson because he's a cool guy.
I think the other thing, though, that works so well in the original Ghostbusters that I don't understand how this movie touts itself as a progressive remake when everyone in the original Ghostbusters was not a stereotype. Egon was smart, but he wasn't a stereotypical nerd. Venkman was a smartass, but he wasn't an asshole. Stantz was a passionate guy, but he wasn't a fucking weirdo, And then Ernie Hudson was just a guy off the street, just a regular guy. They didn't play him up as anything else. He wasn't a stereotype, normal guy. But then in this movie, you've got Leslie Jones's character, who is absolutely the loud black woman stereotype. And how could you possibly put that in your movie when you call yourself this progressive feminist move forward of this series?
Feminist angle is very touchy, but it does not make itself subtle at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. We've got a shirt worn by Holtzman, who is Kate McKinnon's character, one of the boys.
Every male character in this movie is either stupid or a total asshole, and it is unbelievable to me because it's like every single one. None of them have any redeeming factors at all.
We got to write that up to coincidence, though.
I don't get
That's
it.
That's not purposeful at all. Comedies are great when they don't draw attention to their jokes. There's a cool joke in here I liked. Chris Hemsworth has frameless glasses.
Yeah, that was funny.
He does this and it goes through that.
Yeah.
Then they point it out.
Yeah.
Then they point it out. Don't mention it.
But see, that's the thing.
It's funnier that
Everyone
way.
in the theater noticed because I heard them all laugh.
Everyone laughed. It's like, why don't your glasses have frames? Why? It was funny, and then you had to address it, and you ruined the joke.
That's the thing with the original Ghostbusters. There's a scene that I point out in the video essay where he says, "Quiet, do you smell something?"
Yeah.
And it goes completely unnoticed.
This movie does that a lot, and I think that's why the laughs don't hit as hard as maybe they want it to. Plus the fact that the joke writing is complete shit.
It's definitely a different approach. It's a modern comedy approach to writing jokes for this series.
I'm stressed out.
Me too.
This movie's not very well paced.
Not at all.
The first hour feels so slow. Nothing really happens of merit for a good 30 minutes.
Probably, yeah.
And even before that, if you want to consider the first ghost they see, you've seen that in the trailer, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just it's so slow, and the ending is really, really quick. Like that huge battle, it's like, all right, 10 minutes, but we're gonna take another 40 to set up everybody. And usually that's a good thing. But these characters are so flat and they're so stereotypical that there's no point in taking as much time as you do. I just don't get it, man. And I don't want to hate on this movie. I wanted to like this. I really, really did. But the movie let me down in so many ways that makes me feel like this movie is going to be the most cynically viewed movie in history. And unfortunately, I think that approach is well merited. Because you're going to see this movie and you're going to realize how much better the original was. And you're going to be very, very upset, as I am right now.
I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'm kidding.
Did you write Ghostbusters 2016?
No, I would like to take a minute to talk about the villain in this movie because
where was he?
Oh my god, I don't even know how to feel about Rowan, to be honest with you, because
he's not in it much
at all, and it almost felt like you were supposed to know who he was. Because he's introduced in this weird way, like halfway into the movie, of like, oh, that's the guy I'm supposed to know. That's okay. That's weird. And he's
why is he doing this?
And he's super whiny.
Yeah.
He's so whiny. When he finally has his big confrontation at the end, he turns into the Ghostbusters logo.
The No Ghost.
Which was logo. He turns into a cartoon, like a 2D hand-drawn cartoon.
And the animation was cool.
But it totally didn't fit.
Didn't fit.
For 10 seconds, and then he hops out of the circle with a cross through it, turns that into his nice little bow tie, and then he grows into this giant thing. The only thing about it that I thought was kind of clever was that he's supposed to be like a sheet ghost, and he was made of cloth. And I thought that was kind of neat.
Guess what, though? Visuals don't make a character any better. Man.
Not at all.
Not at all. It felt ridiculous in a bad way. Ghostbusters the original is ridiculous in a good way. Here, I don't get it. Why? This is very touchy, but the movie, as you mentioned earlier, markets itself as this progressive thing. And, childhood heroes aren't being killed. You still got the original guys. You can watch them at any time you want. And I read something earlier that said, your childhood heroes aren't being killed. This movie is making new heroes for young girls, right? Mm-hmm. How would you look up to these people?
I don't know. It's hard to, because they don't feel like
There's no arcs.
But they aren't strong characters.
They're not.
They fall, like we said, into stereotypes.
And is this to say that the original four are heroes? Not even really that.
No.
They're schlubby exterminators living in New York, and you like watching them because they're funny.
But that's the point, is that they don't play themselves as heroes,
No.
They're the everyman who is in this, and they're a business.
Yeah.
But, the entire marketing campaign and everyone who's behind this movie has been talking about how it's progressive and how it's an all-women cast. And I don't understand if this is the progressive form that we're taking. And then you have Kristen Wiig's character, who is constantly going after Chris Hemsworth, who needs to go after this guy the whole time. Why did that have to happen? Why? That's not strong. Being independent, make yourself independent, tout yourself as that, and call it a day.
This isn't the end of the world, of course. But the thing is, this movie is the stepping stone, if you will, for a new studio at Sony called Ghost Corps, which is going to be the Ghostbusters cinematic universe. No bullshit here. This is completely true. They are trying to create a Ghostbusters cinematic universe.
I have heard.
And if this is our first step into that, fuck. Consider me out. I don't want to sound like a fanboy. I don't want to have another James Rolfe thrown on me. Like, that whole situation, that entire shitstorm. I just don't want this, man. We have the original films and they work so well, and of course you're going to bank on a very popular property because that's what you do now. That's the time we're living in with the movie industry. But if this is what it's going to be like, I have no desire to keep pursuing viewing these.
This movie suffers from Marvel syndrome, where it feels like just another brick in this wall, and it felt like it had set up all this stuff.
Especially at the end.
Because nothing in this movie happens, really. They bust one ghost, and, you know, you never see them do anything else until the very end. And it felt like the very beginning of a company, and they're just stretching this out for a whole movie. So in the end, you get this payoff where you see them in the firehouse, and that you know in the second one, they're going to be an active business. And it's just, it is so frustrating because it feels like just one brick in a big wall that has not even been built yet.
2 out of 10.
1. 1 out of 10.
Is that because you're a fanboy and you can't let go of the past?
Not at all.
It's because, and I'll tell you this, we don't hate this movie because they're women. I said that earlier. We don't. We hate this movie because it's piggybacking off of something that a lot of people love for a very good reason, and then it thinks it can do the complete opposite that the original did. There are no characters you can really get behind. It tries to be funny, and I didn't laugh much. That's, of course, subjective. You might laugh. I thought it was lowbrow. I thought it was not funny at all. There's too many callbacks. It tries way too hard to be fan service when it doesn't need to be because a lot of the fans didn't want this anyway. And I did not have an enjoyable experience. I realized how much better a movie can be when it is fun and self-aware and not a cynical cash grab.
And not to mention, I did not appreciate personally feeling insulted when they have these jabs in there that aren't subtle at all to all the people who were wary of this movie. And they do it in so many different scenes, and it hurts. Why burn your fan base, you know? Why fight back like that? It's foolish.
You can't win with this movie. If you like it, you are not a Ghostbusters fan. You don't know what a good movie is. If you hate it, you don't like progressive
Yeah,
movies.
you're a misogynist.
Yeah. You can't win, man. And I'm sorry. I'm going to take the negative approach. I know it's overplayed. Maybe a lot of people are saying the same things about it, but a lot of people are right. The movie's not good. 2 out of 10.
1 out of 10.
So if you like this review, even how negative it was, or easily our most negative yet, let us know. Like, comment, subscribe if you do so choose. Video essays, we've been working on them. I just released one on Locke. You just released one on Ghostbusters. I'm pretty proud of mine. I think you're pretty proud of yours too.
Absolutely.
They're both pretty good. I'll admit it. I'm not going to shy away from saying it. We worked hard on them. Let us know if you liked them. Stick around for more, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.